Hi guys, Rob here from Talon Gear and South Ayrshire Stalking. What we're going to do today is basically fit. We've been given a new thermal scope from Infrared, the TP25 SE, and we're going to fit it onto this Browning 223, get it out and then hopefully show you some footage of getting the foxes tonight. In the box it comes with its own mounts. Personally I think these are probably a bit high, but we'll use them as this is what's been provided, so we'll use them. But if I was using this myself, I'd probably change over the scope rings to something a bit more flatter to the profile of the barrel. But yeah, so away we go. So again, we'll just put the bottoms of the scope rings on for now until we can get the scope on, and then we can adjust it for my eyes. I might bring this one right to the back so we've got enough room to play with. If you do this enough guys, you should know what your sort of eye relief is going to look like on the scope. So if you notice here, I've got plenty of play on the eye relief, so I can sort it out for myself. Yep. Just give that a little crank up. So as I say, we'll do everything up finger tight, and then we'll get the torque screwdriver out once we're in position and get them all torqued up properly. But we need to give ourselves enough looseness to still be able to slide the scope around up and down like so. What I tend to do when I'm tightening them up, I always go opposite corners, just so you get the right tension on the scope without putting too much pressure onto one screw. Like so. Right, so we've still got a bit of movement there, we can still slide it forward and backwards, so we've got the play that we need. What I'll do is put the eye rest piece on, and then that way I can sort out my eye relief. Right guys, so all I'm going to, obviously as you can see I've still got loads of play on here. All I'm going to do is adopt my normal shooting position. Get my cheek hold, same as I normally do on the sticks. And I'm just going to bring it all the way back. Look away, come away from the rifle, get back into position. I should be back straight there again. Ideally, I would like it slightly further back, but it's not going to go any further back because we need to offset the Picatinny rail or get an extended rail for the Picatinny. But for me at the moment, I can deal with that. I'm happy with that. The cross, I've also made sure, so we've got the rifle level, and I'm also looking at the target down the range to ensure that the crosshairs are so we've deliberately put the screens in on the range level. We do also have a level bubble here to check, but we don't need to because I can actually line my crosshairs up with the top of the witness screen at the bottom of the range to get the level. And everything so I'm looking down the line of the centre here, making sure it's coming down to the centre of the rifle as well, the centre of the bolt. Maybe just a touch. Too much. Right, so I'm happy there. So I'm not going to touch the rifle, I'm just going to initially crank up the two corners. So crank up on that one, crank up on that one, crank up on that one, So opposites. So front right, back left on both. So the scope is now and secure. So I can now move this. Just double check before I tighten everything up. All good. I'm happy with that. Right, so all I'm going to do now is obviously tightened up the 4 corners. Sorry, the 2 corners. And I'm just going to check, get it out of position, out my shoulder, and then come in. Make sure it's nice and comfortable for me. I'm happy with that. So all I'm going to do now is go away to the car and get the torque wrench, and then torque up the bases and torque up to the tops to the recommended settings. So obviously this is a torque and screwdriver, not the cheapest of things I might add, so I think they're about 80 quid. But I always torque so the bases always torque at 4 Newton meters, and the actual scope rings themselves at 2 Newton meters. The only reason I use that is because that's what the tier 1 settings are. So that way I've got consistency, so that if I want to change my scopes over, I've got minimum movement, especially on the Picatinny rails between if I'm putting the rifle off and then back on, I've got that minimum movement, so minimum adjustments for when I check 0 if I take the scope off. So it's just a basic.
Can I get a close up of that and just show them how you actually set it?
Yeah.
So what would you do? You just dial in the...
So basically, first thing you need to do is obviously check it's on Newton meters. So what we're on there, we're on... So that's Newton meters there. Then I just basically adjust it. So I'm bang on 2 there, but obviously you can adjust it all the way down. And what basically this torque wrench will do is once you put enough pressure on, turn it really slowly. Once you get the right pressure, it will give a bleep. And again, same as before, I'm just going to do the opposite corners. This way I'm not crimping down too hard and actually crimping the actual scope tube. I forgot to mention as well, you need to try and make sure that these gaps here, if they don't fit all the way around, are even. Just so you're putting even pressure onto the scope. So, same with the back ones, so tighten up slowly. Yeah. Then just as a final check, just check them all. Just apply a bit of pressure. Yeah. Yeah. The reason I do this as well, because if you tighten some up too hard, other ones will loosen off. So just make sure that they're all tight, they're all at the same torque. Simple as. And that's us, we're good to go. So we need to go down the range, set up the target, and then we're good to go to 0.